It is such an exciting and beautiful morning here at Enterprise, and I am so very, very excited to be joined by one of our member benefit partners, Rebellious Unicorn. And we have the honor and privilege of being joined by the founder, owner, and CEO, Dustyn Baulkham. Dustyn, thank you so much for being here and for being
Thanks for having me.
such a valued and important member benefit partner. You've been so awesome to work with, and we've even gotten to meet in person a few times, which has been very exciting too.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. Thrilled to be here. Yeah, I know it's with excuse me, with the last 2 years that we've been in, it's actually nice to actually get to see people in person. So, yeah, thrilled to be here. It's a little balmy morning up here in Kelowna, BC, Canada, but yeah, it's great.
Well, yeah, so let's just dive right in.
Let's do
So,
it.
why don't you tell us what Unicorns Live is and what benefit it is to our partners and how it all works? Give us the
Sure.
rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a quick history of Rebellious Unicorns and Unicorns Live, because obviously there's kind of two different brands at play there. Rebellious Unicorns is our kind of our umbrella company that we started back in 2017 to host Pride festivals at ski hills. We would do LGBT pop up events at nightclubs, kind of takeover nights, because in the area we live, there was at the time no LGBT specific bars or clubs or establishments, and so we kind of started taking on that role in our community, both here in Kelowna as well as throughout the Okanagan and interior British Columbia. And just prior to the pandemic, we were about to roll out our live music series focused around LGBT musicians called Cusick, and we literally just got some funding from our provincial music agency. And I got the first 75% check, and a week and a half later, everything gets locked down from COVID, so March 2020, and we're just like, well, great, we have this money in the bank that I can't spend. What are we gonna do? So after many sleepless nights of trying to figure it out, we decided we were going to try some hybrid. That June is when we actually started them with a local venue that our first LGBT lounge. And as we were going through the process, we thought, why are we only doing LGBT live music? Because there's so many other people and groups out there that could utilize a streaming service to get their content to the masses. And so that's where Unicorns Live was born out of, was Cusick. And since that time, we've worked with groups like the Symphony, the local opera. We've worked with Kelowna Pride, Fort McMurray Pride. We've been kind of throughout Western Canada doing a number of streams. I actually almost went to Palm Springs last week and did a quick one, but some family health things came up that I wasn't able to. But yeah, so I think when I talk about Unicorns Live, I think Netflix, except everything is live and on the fly. Like we don't. Sometimes we'll have a bit of pre-recorded content, but the whole premise of it is that it's unfiltered, it's live. And you know what? We've had times where lights go out, we've had internet drops, we've had mics like literally die in the middle of a set, and that's live. We want it to be as close to going to a live show as possible. And so we've had, it's been a fun journey this last year and a half of getting Unicorns Live out. We have, Apple TV, Roku TV, iOS, Android apps. Obviously, there's the web portal as well. So it's really accessible in that aspect. And yeah, so thrilled to be here. I have, as you know, I have a quick deck that I thought,
Well, let's
we
take
can
a
dig
look
into a
at it.
bit
Let's let
more.
our
Yeah.
audience see it. Yeah.
Um, so obviously we love our unicorns. You kind of follows through a couple different brands that we have, and yeah, I thought I want to talk a bit about live streaming in general and some tips around it, because so many of us have done a lot of streaming over the last few years, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not. So I thought let's talk a little bit. This was kind of the tagline that we coined when we first started Unicorns Live, um, because especially with the Instagrams of the world, everything has to be perfect before you share it with the world. And I think we've gotten to this point where it's almost too much. And you see people struggling with mental health because they're not getting enough likes, or they're not reaching enough people, and their stuff isn't perfect enough. And so that was where we wanted UnicornsLive to be really authentic, and that, you know what, mistakes happen. I even talk a bit about bloopers in one of these slides here. So, yeah. And so why we went live initially is, well, one option is you can interact with the people obviously on the fly. It's instant, and you don't have a bunch of editing you have to do after the fact. I've mentioned authentic a few times. Cost, I think the biggest part on that was, if you record and then edit, obviously there's a lot of expense that comes with that. With live, you shoot and whatever happens. So you're not you're not retaking, you're not editing again to make it perfect. So there's a lot of those expenses that reduce that, which enabled us to produce a lot more content. I mean, over the last year and a half, we've done over 500 hours of stream content, over 300 different shows, everything from a 15-minute makeup tutorial to a 3-hour cabaret style show with live music and drag.
So just real quick, Dustyn, now for the audience, now where is this content coming from? Is it individual creators? Is it stuff that you're putting together with different people, organizations? I mean, how do you come up with the content and who puts it on there?
Yeah, great question. It's a mix. So some of it is content that we have created in partnership with people, especially like 2 different shows that would resemble that. One is called basically Ella, so it's our local Two-Spirit Indigenous drag queen who's a makeup artist by trade. And we're now in season 3, and right now we're talking about wigs, but it's a beauty tip show. So how to do different type of things with makeup and like cleaning your face properly and cleaning your brushes and all that kind of fun stuff. And they're quick little hits. And so in essence, the content is all hers to create, and we support that journey. So that's one way we look at it. Another is when we work with groups like the symphony or the ballet, is it's them reaching out to us saying, hey, we want to stream our content and utilize your services. So then we take all of our equipment, we go into the local theater, and we set up the stream and work with them on that. We can sell the tickets for them, like the virtual tickets. And then obviously, they earn the revenue off that. And then we're also, we're just expanding into a new area around individual content creators, where we provide that back end support, and those creators do all the front end. So like, in essence, that would be you today. You'd be that creator because you're, this is your show, and I'm obviously the honored guest to be here. And we all, we work with folks like yourself in that aspect. So there's a few different ways that we get the content. And obviously, with Prides, we'll go in with them and stream the Pride Festival or one of their other shows. So, and it could be us doing the work, or it could be them streaming to us, and then we provide the back end support. So I hope I kind of answered.
Yeah, that answered the question.
Yeah, awesome.
Maybe dig a little bit more into how Pride organizers. I'm not sure if this is later on in the presentation, but if you want to maybe pause on talking more about how Pride organizers could benefit from it, or do you want to just maybe get a little bit further in the presentation first?
Yeah, I think let me cover up a couple high-level points on the streaming side, and then later on I have kind of a section on working with us. So, absolutely. And so cost and time obviously play in, and I mean we get some really good bloopers with live stuff because stuff just happens. A good example, one of our shows, Sip with Sparkle. So we have a local drag queen who also works at a distillery. So we've created a show that's around her making cocktails, and by the end of the show, she's usually hammered and making a mess of things. And, we get some really good video of that. So I had to have that on.
Keeping some levity in it is always good, too.
Absolutely. And so I'm just going to quickly touch on each of these points around tips for a great stream. Because you don't have to have, a $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 setup to do a really good stream. You just need to know how to utilize it. Internet's always the most important thing, and what a lot of people don't realize is their upload speed is not always super great, and to hardwire as much as you can, because if you're in an area that you're using a public Wi-Fi, good luck having a good quality stream, because there's too many people on network and it drops, and so I will almost never stream on Wi-Fi unless I have my own dedicated network. And so just some things to think about. You can do a stream with as little as 5, so it's Mbps as megabytes per second. But ideally, it's 25 plus. And so some people have great download speeds, but then you look at their upload and it's just garbage. So, make sure you have a really good, reliable internet connection is first and foremost, because you can't stream without an internet connection. So I've even done it, when I went to Fort Mac to stream a show 2 weeks ago where the venue had garbage internet, where I literally used a mobile hotspot and had a perfectly clean stream. So you can actually do it over cell networks now. Lighting's the next one, because you probably can't tell, but to my right, I have a big open window, and if I had my back to it, you would not be able to see my face. So make sure you have really good front lighting, because if it's too bright behind you, you're not going to see a person. The lighting's going to be off. So, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on lighting to make it look good. I know everyone uses ring lights. I do not like ring lights because of the way, like, if it's in your eyes, you see this like weird ring, and it makes you look kind of, kind of look off. And if you're wearing glasses, you often get a lot of reflection. So, try and set up lighting that you have different angles, so it's not always straight on. Audio, if you're doing small stuff, try and be in a quiet space. Headphones are always key, so you don't have feedback if you're doing virtual stuff. And I always prefer wired. You'll always hear me talk wired, unless you have a really strong wireless setup. Because wireless, obviously, you can just drop. And so wired, you got that hard line. Video, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get good quality video. I've actually really started utilizing iPhones. So I have a very portable setup that I can literally carry 90% of it on. It's 4 iPhone 12 Pros, an iPad Pro, and a gaming Wi-Fi modem. And I can stream a full event with that, as long as I got a good sound input. So again, I'll still always prefer doing a hardwired situation, but you don't have to go crazy with the setup to have a good quality stream. Equipment, I always say buy the best you can afford. When we first started with UnicornsLive, we definitely cheaped out on some audio and some video stuff, and it shows. So get the best you can afford. I mean, even right now, coming to you, I have one of the new iMacs, and they have a 1080p camera, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I gotta sit back a bit, because it's too good right now and stuff, on these Zooms and these webinars and whatnot. And I also encourage people to look at lease versus buy in terms of equipment, because if you're going to be doing this regularly, you're probably going to want to switch out your equipment. So maybe don't buy it, and then you don't have such a cash outflow right at the beginning. And so I guess part of what I was trying to share is, we have the expertise in terms of streaming. We've done, like I said, over 300. We've done things completely virtual. One of our shows, More Keys and Matty P, he does a piano bar style show from his living room in Vancouver. I'm controlling the stream in Kelowna, and we've had guests as far away as Berlin. And we actually use the same software we're using right now, Restream, is what we use for that. Because I find, the latency or the lag is very, very minimal when you use software like this, which is key, because otherwise you're always cutting each other off if there's too big of a lag. We know how to professionally produce content, and it doesn't have to be super expensive equipment, and we don't always have to be the people there. We have great mechanisms in place to monetize content. UnicornsLive is a subscription platform. It's $10 Canadian a month, and we Ryan, you've shared the Interpride link before. If people sign up through that, Interpride gets 20% of that membership fee for the life of the membership. And we do that with any of our creators. So, if a Pride organization works with us and people subscribe to UnicornsLive through that Pride organization is going to get that 20% for the life of that subscription. So there's ways for organizations to make money. Plus, if people are watching your content, we do a revenue share model. So 35% of our subscription revenue is paid out based on minutes watched of content. So if you create content that's really popular with our subscribers, you can earn income on that as well. I know with Prides, a lot of groups do want, especially the streams, to be free. We do have mechanisms in place for that as well. We can get people set up for very low or almost no upfront costs at the beginning. So, it's really affordable to get going with us. We don't do any ads or anything like that on our platform. When we established UnicornsLive, we were very adamant that we didn't want ads built into it because it just turned into another, YouTube or TV service. We wanted to be unique in that aspect, and that's why we have the subscription side of things. Your users, so the folks that are, so if a Pride organization is streaming their festival with us, any of the people that's watching it, we provide all the tech support. Because otherwise, if you're going to places like Facebook or YouTube, you have to do all the troubleshooting with people yourself. And, Facebook and those don't really have good support in place for the users. And if you are, it's usually you're waiting. I know Facebook, whenever I have to email their business team, it's usually a day or two response. When you're in a live show, that is not helpful. So, on our website, we have live chat built in, and we also have a whole knowledge base that people can get support on their own as well. And of course, we're a 100% LGBT owned organization. And we can help, in terms of Pride organizers, we can help remotely. We don't have to be on site with streams. So in terms of like a cost side of things, that we can do this all remotely and support them in what they're producing. I think, the last was my little man Chaz. We call him our the head of HR.
Love it. Hey, we all need a cute little head of HR like that. I love it. And Dustyn, I think it's really important for people to understand. This is something that you did out of necessity, out of compassion for trying to keep the LGBTQI plus community connected, and because it's really the way of the future.
Yeah.
So, maybe, touch on that story a little bit, that important story as to, the meaning behind it and why it was so important for you to be part of Interpride to continue to advance this important work.
Yeah. A couple aspects. Obviously, during COVID, artists and performers basically lost almost all their avenues for income. And so, we wanted to create a fair way for them to continue creating their art and earning income at the same time. And that was part of the evolution of UnicornsLive. And when it first came out, it was very us producing our own content. But now we're like, no, we want to support people. We want to support organizations in bringing their art and their craft to the masses and doing it in a way that it's a high quality but it doesn't have to be prohibitive with costs. Because, to do a huge setup could be, $100,000 in rentals, but you don't need that for most things. And so we want to work with the folks in doing that. And I mean, the other thing that we've seen over the pandemic too is, so a good example is the symphony and the ballet. We've had people who love both that kind of art, but they live in a small community and they can't get to the big city to go and watch it. And because we've streamed this content, we've had a lot of people reach out and say, please, even after things open up, please continue to stream this because I love it. It's great, but we can't come into the city to watch it, or maybe they can't afford it. And so this provides options for those people to also enjoy the content as well. And with the platform, there's ways for people to directly interact with the creatives. Like there is a live chat built into the website and the iOS apps, so you can also communicate with your people. So it's not just a one-way communication.
And thank you so much for that, high-level overview. And again, UnicornsLive, Rebellious Unicorns, they are a member benefit partner. So please go to the website, check it out, see what our awesome partner can do to try to help your local Pride. There's so many opportunities available. And with things still kind of just getting back to that comfort zone, having a way to stream information, having a way to stream content, being direct to your audience without those silly commercials about whatever they talk about, it's a great way to do that. So, Dustyn, thank you for being a valued member benefit partner, and to everything that you continue to do for the LGBTQI plus community and the Indigenous community and for the global movement.
Thank you. Yeah, it's love being here. It's been a pleasure working with Interpride to this point. I'm looking forward to this continuing and how we grow the relationship and the partnership. And it's going to be exciting getting back to Prides this summer. But I know there's still going to be people who are unsure, right? They're not quite comfortable going out yet. And I think we're at that point now that everyone has to make their own decision in terms of, am I going out to in person, or am I able to, from the safety of my living room, still partake in the festivities, just in a different way. And so we want to make sure people have the various options that are available to them.
And that's what Unicorns Live is able to provide for you. So please reach out if you have any questions or you want to get connected. We look forward to it. And don't forget, March 19th, we have our Silence to Solidarity concert coming up. And Unicorns Live is going to be participating and helping us stream it. So we look forward to that too. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you pay attention. Make sure you donate some money. Come on. We're helping out the global south. We're helping out the world community. And we will see you there. And we all very much appreciate it. Thank you again.